Oh, it is recorded how they maintain each modern nation, each physical culture, criminally foreign influenced and pretending other, how they're using identity. Now, how everyone is discerning this is through how they, you know, what they're expert on. And see, but we have that. So then people defending styles of defense, for example, the training, before the training is intercampuses, vertical and horizontal database racketeering. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated was is by uh, uh, what is his name? O'Brien family, a Cololo family, and a DeMoro family. They had crime rolls with a Mayor Gold and overt criminal enterprises when I was in grammar school, and with a whole bunch of people with agencies, foreign and domestic, involved in collusion. For example, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated people associated with Vermont and with. Uh, so that was in grammar school, and that's they're putting fake things in databases. Now they're exploiting this off campuses at the same time, vertically and horizontally, because they're having line progressions. And they're because they're what they're using the crimes with the databases and with their treatments of what is positive and what is negative in each value. Intersciences, originally and still criminally foreign influenced. So now we come to middle school. Now Joe DeMoro and Mike Kerr. Now I never saw him and met him in grammar school. Five Michaels. I never tried to contact in my life. The only contact like mobile gas station, and that was them. Joe DeMoro, Ray Clow, demonstrating, confessing, make everyone make confessions about the rules with Justice Department racketeering, which they didn't use those words, but they make confessions about the people associated with all the drug dealing and stuff like that with the kids, but not because of that. Not about anything debatable. I'm talking about things because their uses of it for identity thefts, for sequence racketeering, for their setting up. There's a, so this Mike Kerr. I never when he never went to my high school. They had an exception where he went for a short time. I never had one conversation in my high school. He has a Heather Hansen, and she has a whole bunch of women and that when they were girls, they were used criminally as with for their family members involved with investigations that are used for to keep originally and still criminally foreign influence all positions of sophistication, to keep them valuing how they blamed the real causes of predicate acts on groups wrong, well, because they're recorded in collusion. Fox Connecticut News, Mike Pandolf. Never tried to contact him in my life either. Mike, Mike Kerr, Mike Pandolf, Mike Roberts. He's also see these are people with Wethersfield Police, with New Britain Superior Court, and with on and off the state judicial branches, on and off the state prison offices, people involved with database racketeering, fake sites where they act in collusion to the database racketeering before and active and progressive utilized, and then worse from there. As that, there are beach locations. So they're using the identity of the ground. They have a fax. They're using distances from databases. Where this is Washington, a whole bunch of ways. Washington D.C. case is already criminally. They're incapable of moving forward and pretending science had free speech in every nation at once, especially regarding here. We don't have free speech because we have sequence racketeering. They set the section. Since I was a kid, I've been prevented writing. The courts demonstrated, recorded, confessed exactly how they're using crime methods, recorded actually recorded reality that demonstrates exactly what motivated them to six things in the past. To pretend them to pretend from through motivations, nature's needs, interest other. So it shows exactly how the overt criminal enterprises from different nations are with undercover also against such, all styled the same though. They're in with private, you can't defend it us at the same time. You can't defend free speech, correlation agencies right through it. People offensively pretending, oh, jobs. But these are the jobs holders, so this is where the value is going to come from. That's not true. In other words, free speech. Of course, they can't defend themselves. And of course, everyone's victims. So because only natures of industries that only people coming into it. If you're not going to ignore racketeering tied to the vertical and horizontal database racketeering, which is on off campuses, it's already sustained, connected live progressions from each nature of campus. Also, medical and fire campuses. Also, houses next to them, corners. Also, the families. So they have everyone awes. Everyone can't fathom originally and still what was sophistication here before any nature of sophistication undercover. Hundreds of nations sharing it. So, a bright kid with talking about cricket corruption. I'll put the link to his YouTube video. I didn't finish it because I want to see about what he says about the Patriot Act because it has the Patriot Act, but there's the Patriot Act is recorded, um, involved with cover up of criminal foreign influence that was here since before our founders' births. It's using the identity of the ground, how stupid it is, tactically denatured, recorded, involved with the extortion of our founders, the torture of our founders, their lack of free speech because they were factory major slaves, as everyone else, in a trap, in layers, with everyone motivated and propagated to roles, only capable of speculating, even longing to be self-cultivated. Use by what is a breaching organized crime method against each nation, criminal foreign influences, but it's not sourced by one. And it's needed countered by each identity of nation, which is only realized victim predators, every single person of opinions. Free speech does not have free speech. They're not following mandated law, and that's evidence. See, but they're not letting evidence seen, and they're forging and switching names, and they're lying when people walk into courts. So then they're not letting that demonstrate, even though it's actually recorded. This is also why they have not been allowing video in courts and or selectively. So then they have sequence shifts when people graduated because there are extended relatives of a Ray Colo who was in my grade. I've never had a conversation with his sister, and she's married to a reportedly married to a officer of some sort named, I forgot the same name as a swimmer, like for the gold medal swimmer. But whatever, it's not important. The important thing is my own family is also involved with them interbranch police. The Wethersfield police chief's own the daughter and her kids, and so his grandkid, with the Highcrest School, and these are also Sandy Hook families. Sandy Hook has a Newtown prison there, and they have doctors recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with physical delusions and with racketeering with their patients and criminals before they were in there, and before they were in a state forensics labs. Also, all of them recorded and confessed with the various houses in my area used criminally by people associated with them for their criminal uses of child sex offenders, especially if they're on that fake. CT must break. Find the C. So we have next to religious spots location, we have state police recorded and confessed and demonstrated and involved with Wethersfield police and with former director of the FBI down with a whole bunch of people with Wethersfield police and with judges retired and standing and interbranch police and their family members retired and standing on off the Wethersfield police location. It is now and passed through time. Now these are people with criminal uses of military and of women associated with Coast Guard, for example, who are involved with this Justin or what's his name? Joshua Julian. Joshua Julian is recorded and confessed involved with verbal racketeering with overt criminal enterprises and with identity thefts against me with a whole bunch of other people from my town that I never had a class with, never had anything to do with. And he's also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with a whole bunch of people, criminal uses of coaches, because you have the coaching of the team, and you're talking only to the kids that you speak with. Or if you have teams, a lot of people aren't even going to speak to the coach or the other players. So in other words, this is Justice Department incompetence originally instilled. This is Washington D.C. incompetence originally instilled with this. I don't know all the names of the families associated with this. Chris Walters. There are five Mike. There's a Mike Kerr, his brother Jerry Kerr, his father Jerry Kerr, his mother associated with police forms, also with various insurance companies. Now, these are people with the morals, a whole bunch of men and women associated with Central Connecticut State University, also involved racketeering with child offenders and with medical offenders involved with it, with their crimes, with their patients and criminals, especially regarding the sexual predators and the medical predators, and their uses of people with on-off two-route highway, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with narratives where they painted me to fake location, sequence racketeering with whole groups involved with their roles with drugs and with methods of worse than more murder, right? Because of the way the courts drug clicks were in the furtherance of it and making and facilitating people to need to hide the roles with extortion. I mean, with all mail crimes, wire crimes. These are criminal uses of AT&T through time recorded manifest. A whole bunch of family members of people associated with even the judges of various natures of courts, especially probate courts, because their roles with all kinds of racketeering with their patients and criminals recorded. They were self-recorded that. See, but they forged names and switched names and used crime methods like that originally and still using the identities of other people, pretending mental integrity to our mental stewards when they know that is involved with Justice Department racketeering, recorded and confessed. I tell it best. WTNH, WFSB, and Fox Connecticut News. If they're recorded and confessed, forcing sustained sexual, medical, and verbal federal crimes, mail crime rules, and spreading illusions through people that through time that have been pretending to do it. They're pretending they want privacy. I don't even know them. They're preventing sustained counters to what won't let the interbranch recorded for sustained sex crime acts rolls with the same people they put away for it first. They're using this for other because they're just keeping insulated what is originally instilled criminally for and influenced through time. whole bunch of people involved with the Casper family and with whoever she married into his sister. I don't even know his sister's name. I never had a conversation with. He's recorded. They speak through other people, and then they non-verbally demonstrate it. He's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering through the Obama administration with people with but, but downtown Hartford, sequence racketeering, on and off CCSU, on and off Trinity College through time, on and off intercampuses in my town, with racketeering with people from Church Street in Old Wethersfield all the way up to CCSU on and off that campus. They're involved racketeering roles and uses of how they have entrenched positions with Russians. There and here, they're involved with Russians and Americans are recorded against our own with conspiracy theories against people that they pretend that people have conspiracies. So they can prevent people from free speech while they're stealing our property, intellectual, physical, time, health. These and while they're controlling the hospitals, maintained use for criminal foreign influence that rolls with this through time. I just remind. All right, it's time. It's time. So, so there was an illusion. They recorded, confessed, and demonstrated people associated with the Trade Center attack context leading up to it, criminally involved with people with Vermont and with Middlesex Community College, also with people involved with FBI, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and a whole bunch of people associated with his lawyer location criminally, Robert Chevery, and with his person criminally, and with uses of various natures of courts like Connecticut District Court criminally, New Britain Superior Court criminally through time, leading up to and in cases, leading up to and in the Ninth Circuit, which is right next to the Trade Center in Manhattan, leading up to and in that context criminally. Vaccines. They recorded, confessed, and demonstrated have used Facebook for this criminally. Now they're relying upon how they use Facebook criminally with the vertical and horizontal database racketeering that also has DACA recorded and confessed involved with foreign and domestic military, with mail crime rules, wire crime rules, identity thefts against our citizens, leading up to and then into the Trade Center attack with other nations like Kuwait against Iraq. See, they're also at collusion, fake sides. They're maintaining ISIS to prevent the first part of the Quran from being demonstrated, while the Quran is warning against such. They're forcing the nature of the Quran interpreted out of sequence. They're forcing the nature of the Old Testament out of sequence so they could maintain the value of religions as sensibility natures that are with physical delusions, not science. So when someone needs to have science, tries to voice science in relationship to the sequence treatment of the beginning of the Quran, the beginning of the Old Testament, where it's talking about science, they're not let free speech. There's already vertical and horizontal database racketeering, and there are already offensive violence that identity racketeering from the background, forging names, switching names, and they're pretending other, like for example, former Governor Malloy recorded and confessed. I don't know him. It's not personal, but he's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with force sustained all kinds of natures of abuses of kids. Then they connect it because they have crime methods with this. Of I don't know the name of the officer. There was an officer recorded a whole bunch of police forms interstates associated with a Zano family. Further recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with former foreign and domestic people with psychology like Pakistan. See, then they want to use the identity of Pakistan, but they're racketeering roles with our nation, with other nations that are fake sides. All with all them Russians, Pakistan, Italy, like with this Demaro family, and with all kinds of people associated with them, like with this Kerr family. And so there's the Mike Pandolf too. Mike Kerr and Jerry Curry, there's still two. Jerry Miller further recorded, confessed, involved with them with racketeering uses of houses in my area, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with people I don't even know, pretending to know me because they were involved with racketeering with various natures of overt criminal enterprises and of private undercover with them with actual racketeering acts, though, against citizens. And through time, whole methods recorded associated with they have identity theft people associated with the sources of WFSB. The recorded confess they make fake Facebook pages, fake YouTube pages, and the police are recorded and confessed and demonstrated, threatening me not to say anything about it when I go down there, forging names, switching names, torturing me, putting fake things into databases, doing it also grouped criminally with people in and out of New Britain Superior Court, recorded involved with acting through time with two Mendez police, also a whole bunch of people associated with food bag in Wethersfield and on and off locations like that with a liquor store, also involved with racketeering with people associated with the Department of Transportation at the end of Two Rod Highway. I mean, at the end of well, there's also this. Those judges' families also recorded, confessed, involved with drug racketeering through the policing shared and interbranch shared with the locations on and off Town Line Drive. Now, these are also people associated with that little pathology of facade with businesses and of infrastructure that is fundamental to the correlation that is associated with the zoning laws worse than semi-unsafe originally and still with the torture and fact nature slavery of our founders, which is essential because it's not by accident that was never shown to correlation with the fact nature slavery of everyone with that. In other words, and then people pretend to be teaching about things like divide and conquer. Their roles using identities of nations originally and still with no free speech. Sub rosa racketeering tricks, magic tricks to keep all active fact cheaping nature styles of liars, preventing free speech and pretending other. And that's a maintained outcome. So if if people want to help, I mean, if people want me to talk about them, people I don't even know. See, these people that sought me out. And if a court is in the background trying to pretend other because they set up exceptions, those exceptions they also recorded themselves setting up criminally. In other words, they're also a demonstration of the same thing, but they have methods and recording in natures are actually recorded. See, we have. I'm not even a lawyer. We have recorded lawyers' defenses of fact, cheaping nature of fake sides, originally and still them indifferent to and conscious of, also recorded with physical delusions of, but also conscious of their roles with racketeering. A whole bunch of people with various natures of courts, racketeering with them and their family members, all associated with them. On and off campuses connected. See, this is because they have each age of fact cheaping nature's volume, nature or volume, in relationship to positions, all private and other originally criminally foreign influence of fake sides, self-valuing that too. So self-valuing the real cause of negative value nature progression acts of nature blamed all the things other than self. So self-valuing where it counts each age of fact cheaping nature forsaken. These are the same ones that are predators with elderly homes, various natures of courts at once, and they're actually recorded motivations. So it's nothing personal against Middlesex Community College, but they have Facebook involved with this. In other words, with election crimes, and them at the same time pretending to be against it. Our courts know they have racketeering acts with a whole bunch of the people with their drug cliques associated with this Leahy family, with Scalora family, with a whole bunch of people A whole bunch of people with this Kerr family involved with judges, very retired and standing, state police, Wethersfield police, retired and standing, houses in my area, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with all natures of crime against each age of fact, treaty nature, and then with overt criminal enterprises, and then also with mail and wire crime rules, criminal uses of even the identity, the FBI location on off it with yeah. That's connected to where they have these two. They have a recently. I'll put a link on here to that too. They have a shooting reported. Now it's there are therefore recorded proofs that the police lie about things that they don't have the right to lie about because they're needing to act to hide their roles recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with vertical and horizontal database racketeering, forging names, switching names, putting kids and people of each age to fake locations through time, fake sequence nature relationship. These are in sequence racketeering roles. Wethersfield Pizza is also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering with a whole bunch of people tied to both the Wethersfield police with the shooting of the car reported and presented as presented, and the racketeering with the victims of the and the victim. In other words, with the name Vega and with their use of Wethersfield Police Department and the protests of it, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated also with the media that is preventing counters to them and that they stole me to fake conversations with WFSB. They're also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated did that in sequence racketeering roles against my family members and as reported because they did this with federal criminals that my father beat in an NLRB case and the National Labor Relations Board, and that was ongoing with a pro se civil RICO suit with former director of the FBI Robert Luskin, and with Robert Chevery, his lawyer, and with various federal criminal co-defendants of his and their family members recorded, confessed, and demonstrated crime acts rolls against me and further against the people, the families of Wethersfield. But it's through them, everyone's speaking through everyone else, though, too, because they're preventing counters to anyone who's not going to be speaking through everyone else, and that being criminally used through time. I just remind. So they have all of each of the corners, three natures of corners of on the street of the child sex offender principle still further were recorded and confessed involved with worse. And these are the people that recorded, confessed, and demonstrated how they're involved with a vertical and horizontal database racketeering through time. Whole bunch of people with CCSU and on and off other campuses, even ones I didn't go to, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with the racketeering and with criminal uses of the identities of the ground. I'll get around. I didn't see if but it was implied that it was the location. I believe it was the location right before Fox Connecticut News, where they have some kind of a little skate park built, and they have a graffiti, and they painted Nipsey Hussle and Nipsey Hussle's relationship to value treatments with the policing of the facades of businesses and things like that, and his roles with the gangs. See, that got too hot because those prosecutors and things they've been racketeering natures with the overt criminal enterprises. They're used to keep them as fact keeping nature styles of liar in relationship to nature, which is one identity of relationship to itself and the value of that. So we don't have to agree about the name of this identity, but it exists. And see, but it's off. We're offensively prevented free speech through time, and we have people spreading illusions in the classes we're in grammar school, inter grammar schools, using kids' names from other grammar schools. Kids that you will see when you're in a later and the next levels of campuses, all recorded, confessed, demonstrated that were used to keep like a Phil Colella and two Mendez police and a whole bunch of other people, like men and women associated with Mike Pandolf, Mike Roberts, Joe DeMoro, Tony DeMoro, John DeMoro, two Joe DeMoros, a whole bunch of people involved with DACA, with black and white victim predators, styles of liars, acting roles that wanted to hide that their roles were recorded. Mike Roberts and some black kid. I never tried to contact Mike Roberts. The only exception was through um, one of the people associated with the people involved with the Trade Center attack contacts criminally, directly and indirectly, though indirectly, physically. But these, in other words, how I know this too. That's someone that was an Eric Jensen who went to another. He lived in Newington, but he went to my when he went to my school, and I didn't. I only knew when he went when they put him in a class with me. So he's one of the people recorded confess a whole bunch of people involved with the former with FBI and with CIA families recorded and confessed and filed further with the child sex offenders campus and with my name through time, with sequence shifts, with identity racketeering, mail crime rules, wire crime rules, with people with AT&T, FBI, male and female, people in Newington and Wethersfield on off to Route Highway. Uh, um, Victorian house associated with the Phil Clow recorded, confessed, and demonstrated as one of the ones with the houses in my area also recorded, confessed crimes with overt criminal enterprises and with body dumping spots and with forensics labs clicks through time. State police, other nations police forms, undercover, other nations too. We have shared roles with such, and with the training of such, you can't defend that and us from what exploits it and keeps it stuck, tortured, worse than tortured, forsaken. See, we have black and white. Yeah, at the same time, someone not letting someone speak for the any color. So that every color is valued to what is to everyone, to our species, nature, or volume, actual science. We're forced to be fake sides, forced to be pretended. With these logistics, these people are sick. So who's the guy? One of the greatest generals said there's no time that we couldn't avoid war. Of course not. Of course we're in a friggin' still tactically recorded involved with the torture of our slavery of our founders, fact Jimmy nature slavery of our founders, the identity thefts of our founders too. Zoning laws, pathology, means to pathology of infrastructure of nature's means. It made more energy coming down with water than it takes to bring it up. Oh, but we have to figure out where's the money going to go. Who puts that before needing the water to come down first? Shouldn't be having it. We shouldn't be speaking for value in the first place. See, these people these people are going to get the long term they want is not going to be stuck because they're going to steal their identity further and they're lock it in because this everyone's fighting now only to stay. What the no one can defend themselves but without blaming the real cause of negative value nature progressions acts and natures and other things others themselves acts like criminal ceases nature acts like predicate acts criminal ceases nature's mass with their opinion natures so you're in a way of free speech. WFSBs recorded stealing people's identities to fake words and fake sequences with whole groups and with child sex offenders, with judges, male and female, black and white, through time, involved with a whole bunch of people with the name Mike, like five of them, with Wethersfield Police Department, a whole bunch of people with the name Mendez, Eric Mendez, Janito Mendez, involved racketeering with databases, attaching me to fake locations with them, fake conversations with them, pretending things recorded as police with child sex offenders, with medical offenders with the kids, also further recorded, confessed, and demonstrated on and off the campuses. And these are also people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with the male sexual offenders juxtaposed with um, hyper gay rights, male and female ones, involved with everyone speaking through other too criminally, and involved with Tim O'Brien and or some other guy who looked just like him in front of that house, and the house across the street with him with the grandfather of Ray Colo. And of his sister involved with Navy guys involved with the child offenders, with database crimes, racketeering with overt criminal enterprises, and with other nations' militaries on off with people on off CCSU. There's Justin Kavinsky also sought me out to record and confess his roles with a whole bunch of people tied to Red Claw to in his roles with. I also recorded and confessed retired and standing judges and cliques that are associated with the policing of prisons, associated with these are people. Bob Chase prevented me from reading a police report, and then it said other than was presented to me by the police, the Wethersfield police, who also in the other fake police report, where it has two Mendez police forging names, switching names, attaching me to fake conversations with Janito Mendez. Now these are people also racketeering uses of Facebook through time, and they're pretending that they have interpretations of people's behavior online so they can keep it off acts instead of saying, oh look, you're not supposed to steal this person's identity. They'll keep the whole fight about between people because they're leaving out how the courts are criminally involved with the sequence racketeering, where they're involved recorded with fake sides. They're recorded involved with criminal uses of database clicks like AT&T, associated with the Spider family, also recorded, confessed, abused by people associated with, confirmed also abused by people associated with verbal racketeering, with phone racketeering, also associated with the Victorian House on Two Rod Highway, where it runs into Two Rod Hang Dog Lane, though, and where it runs into the Burnham Turnpike. Which, with this point, we're here, we will see, because this is still the Burnham Turnpike before the end of the end of the Burnham Turnpike, right before Hartford, are also people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved racketeering with the houses on Two Rod Highway, with identity thefts against me, with roles with sequence shifts, with roles with fake news, and predicate acts, mail crimes, and for judges forging and switching names. There are crime acts roles with databases, vertical and horizontal crimes, acting and playing time relationships to that. Placements of classes that they're using criminally, where everyone's speaking, they're doing an act, an illusion, the same way a criminal. If you drive up to the drive-through teller of the FBI, for example, and they point a gun at you, and then you drive to the next window, and and then they say something nice or whatever. Then you do the next. They keep saying another, but they're leaving out the gun. They're attaching you to fake words every time. That's a problem. This is what can't speak for. This is what can't be pretended that it's about a free election. Not one state and area, and this is completely a fact treatment nature racketeering method. So we have the precedence of human fact treatment nature incapable of defending itself. So we have to have one conversation about what is true always and not denying exceptions. And that's the subject. And this is the subject of science. So this is the subject of news, for example. So this is what I'm saying as a species coach in New York. We have all kinds of means already, the news recorded having been hid and how motivated for pretended legal reasons. They recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. They throw up statutes to pretend they have the right to do what they don't have the right to do. They're they're getting away with it by forging names, switching names, preventing counters to them recorded, confessed, to demonstrate, falsifying police reports with all the police forms and maintain criminally foreign influence. Therefore, so maintain needed to hide life aggressions that never were for what they originally say. And when they really needed to hide for legitimate reasons, they're juxtaposed legitimate reasons, which was it's what is illegitimate originally and still. That's why they can't take free speech and one free election. We never had one free election. We never won since founding. This was already entrenched below them, while as the value of each person's style of fact treatment nature, criminally foreign influence and delusions raw, intersciences. This is a problem now. Because we have no mandated law followed. We have Facebook involved with deep, deep, deep value market systems, racketeering roles, all kinds of things like this. Boxing. It lives off this. So if we fight for sides, we lost. You can't. You have to fight for the nature of volume that is complete, that one that is feeling why the value, positive or negative, why we are individual, grouped, and together species. Fear, not this. The course of here. This identity onto each nature of volume is what guides us. It's what we don't use names the way the names. Oh, this is good, bad. That comparison, it leaves out exceptions criminally, consciously. We don't have free speech. Only people that are going to hide criminally foreign influence, Justice Department, Pentagon, Washington, D.C., Trade Center, manifest with areas, racketeering roles are going to do it. A whole bunch of people associated with the departments of CCSU recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering with agencies all along the Church Street and with a house on the corner of Church Street. Now, these are people involved with racketeering with on-off Fox Connecticut News with acting locations and with acting department at CCSU and with the English department at CCSU, tied to people recorded confessed by Wethersfield police involved with racketeering with them, with the locations at that corner through time, and with real estate agencies, with real estate racketeering methods recorded inherent, active, and progressive, involved with my past neighbors, real estate agent Anna Dillon, Sean Dillon, Kevin Dillon, involved further with child sex offenders. I'm sick of fucking asking for them to fix the fake news. You know they recorded themselves threatening and torturing me not to go down to the police station to make this report, torturing others too. Involved with the child sex offenders, forced abuse, which is also other natures of crimes. That's only just they're sustaining fake care, fake, because we have people caring about the identities of agencies who are off campuses, from off campuses, staying on off campuses roles with them sick, like with these two Memphis police, with these a whole bunch of people tied to this Phil Cololo involved, with the houses in my area, with the child sex offenders further criminally involved, with the principal sex offenders campus. So we have further too the Southstein Middle School. We have a private school next to it, recorded, confessed, also involved. We have each age of fact treatment nature campus in town and intercities connected with this racketeering thing too, with the private campuses also involved with the houses around the high school through time with the racketeering with DACA and especially with psychology. Are they out of their mind to have conspiracy theories with people preventing mandated law, still with child offenders right through administrations? It's because of how they have the courts involved with it. It's because of how they have women involved with it. That shows, it's revealing. Now we need them to one name and sequence and doll. Tell doll. There's some guy doll and gal. There's a gal. Tell gal. See, these people, these are involved too with my new and past neighbors, a whole bunch of people with this Dillon family involved. I don't even know the Lewis's and the name other name because they have the extended family members, people on off Trinity College involved with them with untimely deaths connected that brought up the child offenders roles with this, and that brought up how they're ducking behind whatever's involved with the stop and shops, involved with the police force, with them involved with the location, like for example, between the woods behind Big Y and that boat place there, the P2K, tied to the recorded confessed and demonstrated involved with the child sex offenders families cliques with forensics labs involved with drugs and with crimes with that with live progressions their roles with other nations with foreign and domestic military navy like Mexican Navy involved with our Navy with our Marines criminally foreign influenced with our Army, criminally foreign influence, roles here, on off CCSU, on off Trinity College, on off live progressions tied to what they do interages of campuses connected, where they're trying to pretend people are liars and stacking fake recorded things into databases and preventing encounters to it because they're forging names and switching names. We have we have New Britain Superior Court already involved with all the racketeering, issues and stuff that are incapable of having another case today. In many pray. Hartford Court, same thing. Boxing, we're not alone. Russians and Americans have all kinds of crime methods pretending people have mental diagnosis. They forge names and switch names to do it. These are people with all kinds of trade center agreement racketeering roles where there are also the crime method of pretending to be about peace and about positive by contrast to things like nuclear weapons and like wars that are only existing because they're being self-valued by little funk fakes with this the trade center with each age of campus connected intercity. We're, a whole bunch of people with police forms in Rhode Island associated with the food services industry, the managerial industries. Johnson and Wales are associated with the people involved with the racketeering, further recorded and confessed foreign and domestic families all along the route that goes by the state judicial branch offices. Go and other routes like South State Highway, go Wells Road from Church Street, Main Street, all the way straight up to CCSU from Wells Road, right through Newington. Places all along there recorded, confessed, to demonstrate, including libraries, especially regarding libraries, because this is a fact-cheating nature racketeering that is maintaining pseudo-positive self-value and glorified. They're maintaining the identity of our founding fathers glorified. So this is also how to have a like a nervous system to sense to adapt. This is a breaching organized crime method. All we need is free speech and mandated law. Mandated law is recorded, confessed, and is demonstrated, prevented by interbranch racketeering cliques and private tied to them, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated how they are aware of that. They even use these words, names of these gangs and stuff like that. Their drugs, their uses of Facebook together, their uses of all that undercover associated with there's a Pelican place also recorded confessed involved with a Mike Pandoff. I only know him. He sought me out. I don't know him. You see, he repeated that him and a whole bunch of other people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated they're involved on and off Fox CT's location, on and off WFSB locations. Everywhere they go and did stories. They're preventing me free speech by also having stolen my identity to fake words. fake locations, fake sequence relationships. They're involved with forging names, switching names, mail crimes with Wethersfield Police, military police, foreign and domestic, state police, involved crimes with their prisoners and patients before they were there, involved with them criminally with the transition from ACA to RICO, with forensics labs, with trainings of these people. So they have a Wethersfield shooting, real or made up, especially if made up, because especially if real too. There's distinct analysis because they have the Vega family also involved further with the people on off the child offenders campus with Confederate flag themed and with KKK themed racketeering acts with child sex offenders with female judges too, black and white. Through time, recorded, confessed by a Mike Roberts and by a black kid that I don't know his name. He's a guy now, and this is for everyone to free everyone. But he's on off. He's recorded as them as a man, demonstrated, recorded on off the state judicial branch offices. He confirmed his crime acts roles with a whole bunch of people of various natures of courts involved a Victorian house on Two Rod Highway in my town, Wethersfield, Connecticut. Further involved with child sex offenders and with police forms with a whole bunch of medical families. So they stack their names, and that's why they're valuing having people forging names, switching names, faking conversations with people through time. Now, these are people now that are actively, inherently, actively, and progressively, sequentially racketeering against me with judges, even women ones, with this Leahy family, and I'm being prevented from getting a response from phone, mail, or I have to mail again. I have to mail. So they have to follow mandated law now. They're preventing mandated law because they already locked themselves in with people that already used. Now that they're associated with FBI and all that, formally and or informally, also because through criminal foreign influence on and off that location is also associated with a soul place. Never been inside it. There's a woman who's Asian. Now, I also care a lot about Asian because why they're obfuscating how yin yang is more value than what they pretend is proper treatments of the religions. Recorded involved further with child offenders. They say, oh, they're just going to pretend. So this is how the judicial branch and how the executive branch are grouped criminally. And then in the background, they have the coward like the mayors, retired and standing, involved criminally. You know, they're not by accident. They go to there's a mayor's conference in Washington D.C. reported before. That's recorded involved criminally. A whole bunch of people with this former mayor Gold recorded, confessed, and demonstrated further criminally involved with racketeering on and off Fox Connecticut News with a whole bunch of people tied to on and off Buckley High School with an Ayala family. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with all kinds of crimes with Demoros on and off CCSU and on and off Trinity College, involved with him and his sisters and his family, involved with houses next to it, involved racketeering with them, with drugs and with database crimes tied to that, with live progressions tied to that. Their crimes and cases, their crime rolls with AT&T, FBI, little crime critics, uses of people at the corners of the streets of my town. I'll gather around. There's also a house at Wethersfield. I'm sure they say, "Oh, we'll hide from him." Well, no, I'm not saying here. They're just doing that. They're preventing mandated law. That's evidences. They're preventing evidences. When they do that, they're in the background pretending they have rights to do what they don't. They've been recording and they've been all kinds of sick natures of racketeering through time. I just remind all kinds of connections to a house in my area. /S. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with and as the one's roles with racketeering with people with influences over each of the departments at each of the schools. You fools. So they have them insulated too. Then they start fight. They use the identity of the campuses. They tell with the on off campuses, like the police, they tell the guy to pretend he's Darth Vader. These are people involved with various natures of abuse of each age of factory behavior at the same time. So you have to like pick. How am I once with the child offenders? Because that's rules. Get me a response. Connecticut, don't dream of having an election. Get this done.